You're not going to believe what we've got today, so sit back, smash that like button, subscribe, and let's go. Because in the freezing chaos of Kansas City, something happened that feels bigger than a 16-13 score. The Chargers walked out with a season-defining win, but the real story is hiding in the details. A new lightning bolt flashed where nobody was looking. A controversial moment tried to hijack the sideline. And the AFC playoff picture just got shaken so hard that it might not look the same for the rest of the year. E eu vou te dizer, se você piscar, você perde o ponto principal. First off, this wasn't some lucky escape. This was a pivotal Week 15 matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs, and once again the Chargers defense played the hero. They limited Kansas City's offense throughout the game and sealed it with the game-winning interception in the final moments of the fourth quarter. That's the kind of finish that screams playoff football. But inside that defensive masterpiece, the Bolts may have quietly uncovered a weapon that can matter the rest of the way, rookie wide receiver Lambert-Smith. With the usual kick returner Darius Davis out this week with an ankle injury, Lambert-Smith stepped in and filled that role smoothly. And Bolt fam, you could feel a different kind of energy on those returns. It's not just about a number on a stat sheet. It's about burst, decisiveness, and the threat that every kickoff could flip field position. And let's be honest, special teams have been a headache this year. Penalties at the worst times, inconsistency, and the declining effectiveness of Davis as a returner has been a real concern among fans. Coming into Week 15, Los Angeles had the 12th fewest yards per kick return in the NFL, averaging 25.3, with a longest return of only 40 yards. That's hidden yardage you're leaving on the field every Sunday. Lambert-Smith didn't blow past the average against the Chiefs, but he flashed speed and explosion on his 4 returns that looked different than what we've been seeing. And then he stacked the biggest proof on top of it, a crucial receiving touchdown late in the second quarter that pulled the Chargers right back within reach and showed he can be more than just a special team stopgap. If you watch the preseason, you know the skill has always been there. In 4 preseason games, Lambert-Smith totaled 109 yards on just 4 catches. People hoped he'd at least become a rotational weapon. But until now, he'd only seen about 15% of the team's offensive snaps and 16% of their special teams snaps. With Davis banged up and Quentin John Stunn's role shrinking, those numbers can change fast over the next 3 weeks. So I'll ask it straight. Do the Chargers finally have a solution to a special teams problem that's been quietly dragging them all year, and at the same time a new peripheral receiving threat that defenses actually have to account for? Now here's the bigger shockwave. This win didn't just add 1 to the record, it shook the entire AFC. On a frigid Sunday in Kansas City, the Chargers pulled off 2 major feats. They finally killed the Chiefs, and they kept their hopes in the AFC and the AFC West alive and well. Sweeping Kansas City in the season series is a statement, but doing it in a way that officially eliminates KC from playoff contention for the first time in a decade, that's seismic. That changes how everybody talks about this conference, and it changes how opponents prepare when they see the Chargers on the bracket. And the history behind it is wild. For the first time since 2017, the AFC Championship game won't include the Chiefs. For the first time since 1998, the AFC playoffs won't feature either Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, or Patrick Mahomes. You're watching an era bend in real time. And it wasn't pretty. It took 2 clutch interceptions, and late in the game, Mahomes going out with a knee injury that knocked him out, forcing Gardner Minshew into action. But the Bolts got it done, swept the series, and now the whole conference has to treat them like a real problem. The playoff odds reflect it. With the win, the Chargers' chances of making the postseason have skyrocketed to above 90% in most scenario calculations. They're 10-4 overall and 8-2 in the conference, and that conference mark can be gold in tiebreakers. The Denver Broncos beat the Green Bay Packers, improved to 12-2, and kept their 2-game lead in the division. So no, the West isn't automatically yours yet. And don't forget the finish line. The Chargers play in Denver in Week 18 to close the regular season, and that one could feel like a playoff game before the playoffs. Here's the AFC picture with 3 games left. Division leaders: Denver Broncos, West, 12-2, New England Patriots East, 11-3, Jacksonville Jaguars South, 10-4, Pittsburgh Steelers North, 7-6, with Miami on Monday Night Football. Wild cards, Los Angeles Chargers 10-4, Buffalo Bills 10-4, Houston Texans 9-5. In the hunt, Indianapolis Colts 8-6, Baltimore Ravens 7-7. That's the battlefield. It's tight, it's tense, and it's exactly why this Kansas City win matters so much. You don't just win a game, you win leverage, you win belief, and you win the right to be taken seriously in January. But the game didn't only test talent, it tested composure. Safety Tony Jefferson was controversially ejected in that 16-13 win. After several hard hits, he was tossed in the fourth quarter on a hit ruled illegal on Chiefs wide receiver Tyquan Thornton. Jefferson reacted, flipped the bird to the crowd, and got into it with Chiefs players before leaving the field. In that instant, with the score tight and Arrowhead roaring, that could have been the emotional swing that breaks you, and the timing was brutal because the defense was already shorthanded. Safety R.J. Mickens went out with a shoulder injury. Safety Elijah Molden had been ruled out on Friday. Practice squad elevation. Marcus Williams ended up getting his first action of the season because of the chaos. And because of the hit and the ejection, Jefferson is likely looking at a fine from the league. The big worry is always the same. Does it turn into a suspension right when you need him most? This is where Jim Harbaugh's leadership showed up loud. Post-game, he had Jefferson's back. He said he saw a football play. He said he was told New York ruled it an ejection, and the message to the team was simply to keep playing ball. He added that, from what he saw, the hits were legal, and he praised the way the guys didn't let emotion hijack them. That's Harbaugh ball. Stay connected, stay aggressive, and don't lose your mind when the moment gets heated. And the defense answered. Jesse Minter's unit had its best showing of the season, getting multiple stops in the fourth quarter when everything was on the line. On the final drive, Mahomes went out and Minshew stepped in, and Minshew threw the game-ending interception to Derwin James. After the game, Harbaugh also sent his thoughts and prayers to Mahomes, and the injury was confirmed as a torn ACL with a recovery timeline likely bleeding into some, if not all, of the 2026 season. Meanwhile, the Chargers' playoff odds are now well over 90%, and on the Athletics Upshot model, they've been around 94%. There could even be clinching scenarios next week when the Bolts head to Dallas to face the Cowboys. That's why everyone is hoping Jefferson avoids a suspension and is available for that game. This 3-game post-bye winning streak is landing at the exact moment people said this stretch would be the hardest part of the schedule. And the Chargers have now beaten both 2024 Super Bowl participants in back-to-back weeks, which should tell you exactly where their confidence is right now. And here's the quiet twist. Even in a defensive slugfest, the Chargers' offense may have played its most efficient and balanced game in weeks. The final score doesn't scream it, but Justin Herbert had enough time, for the most part, to make the plays he needed. The offense looked steadier, less chaos, more purpose. And a big reason was the running back duo of Omarion Hampton and Kamani Vidal, who did a lot of work that won't show up in the loudest highlights. Hampton went for 61 yards on 15 carries. Vidal added 33 yards on 12 carries. No touchdowns, no true explosion. But their continued viability is necessary if Los Angeles is going to stitch together a playoff-worthy offensive identity down the stretch. Early in the season, the Chargers came out pass-heavy, but injuries and subpar offensive line play limited that approach quickly. And when Hampton and Najee Harris suffered significant injuries, the team couldn't fully become run-dominant either. In that span, Vidal emerged as a legitimate option out of the backfield, totaling 525 rushing yards and 4 total touchdowns during Hampton's absence. So when Hampton returned last week, it became clear the roles would be balanced moving forward. It paid dividends against the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 14, and then Kansas City presented a tougher test. The Chargers still made their intentions clear right away, opening the game with 5 straight run plays. Even though they got stopped once they got to the other side of the field, that sequence set up what became a pivotal field goal. And that dual back threat bought Herbert breathing room. and helped bring play action back into the plan more than we've seen in recent weeks. Vidal has been steady, and he's earned every carry he's getting. But Hampton's return, both as an explosive threat and as an additional reliable back, has helped the run game make its biggest impact, even when the highlight isn't a 40-yard dash. Sometimes the weapon is the consistency. Sometimes it's the fact that defenses have to respect you on first down, which keeps you out of 3rd and long and lets Herbert control the game instead of chasing it. So when you zoom out, this wasn't just a win. It was a snapshot of who these Chargers are right now. A defense that refuses to fold. An offense finding balance. New pieces emerging at the perfect time. And a sideline that doesn't let chaos take control. Now I need to hear from you, Bolt fam. What's the biggest takeaway? Lambert-Smith flashing as a new spark, the Chiefs being eliminated and the AFC turning upside down, the Jefferson ejection and how the team responded, or the offense finally building real balance behind that backfield? Drop your take in the comments, argue it out, and tell me what you're seeing. And if you're riding with this team, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next chapter could get even wilder.